Hello, YNABers. My name is Jesse Meekum from YNAB. It stands for You Need a Budget. Yes, you do. This is another Whiteboard Wednesday with a graph. 2 weeks ago, I believe, I posted a graph that was inaccurate. I talked about a relationship that was one way and it was actually another way. So I'm going to stick with strong correlations from now on. It was something to do with peace and the length of a budget session. I think I had it backward. Okay, here's an easy one. Strong correlation. Your credit score will go up with the time you use YNAB, and then you hit a peak where your credit score goes. I don't even know what a perfect score is, 820 maybe? It gets up there really high, and you don't have to worry about it too much after that. So people will often ask, how do you improve your credit score? And I don't have any tactics. You could just Google and find all sorts of things. One would be to make your payments on time. One would be to not to max out your credit cards. Another one would be to have a long history with credit card or any other kind of utility payment, not just credit cards, but utility payments, places that will report to your credit, on your credit record, what kind of behavior you have. Why care about a credit score? More and more places are using it for all sorts of things, for better or worse. So I don't want to dive into that here. I just want to point something out. Let's pretend for a moment that that trend will continue, where more and more entities, people, employers, insurers will care about your credit score. And assuming that trend will continue to increase as it has over the last, 10, 20 years, let's just assume it does. And let's assume that you just follow YNAB. Then you don't need to worry about it. So if the trend continues where your credit score will start to matter, and if you use YNAB, your credit score will improve, because YNABers don't pay late because they usually just auto pay stuff anyway because they're living a month ahead. They don't go into crazy debt for things they can't afford because they don't want to mess over their future self. And when you're going into debt for things, you're basically kind of thumbing your nose at your future self. So YNABers don't do that. YNABers don't max out their credit cards unless, of course, they're going to pay it off right away. But most of the time, a YNABer would have a credit limit and a use line somewhere probably pretty far away. YNABers don't go off and use tons and tons and tons and tons of credit cards because it's inefficient for their flow. So all of these things help your credit score. And using YNAB for a long time will simply boost it. So there are little things you can do to improve your credit score quickly. I feel like anytime someone's trying to just get in there and be like, I'm going to boost it for this or that reason, their motivations are usually misplaced. It's usually a situation, not always, but just be honest with yourself and ask yourself if this isn't maybe a situation, for a friend of yours, where they're maybe getting in a little over their head. Maybe they're looking to borrow for a home or something good, but their score needs to be a little stronger to really justify how much they can put down for this home. And maybe it would be better if they would just put down more, meaning maybe defer the purchase for a year or two. That kind of thing can be hard to do if you're really dead set on buying a home, for instance. Of course, you wouldn't buy a car on credit, unless it was that deal where you get the discount because it's only available on credit and then you pay it off a week later. I've been there, done that. But yeah, for things like a house, someone would be trying to manipulate their score perhaps to get into a situation where they're maybe not fit anyway. Exceptions could be where you're saying, oh man, if I could bump this up within a month, I could get a better rate. I've got the money saved for a quarter down or whatever. Things are looking pretty solid. But people that game their score, I don't mean game, but just try and manipulate it, things like that, they're usually focused on the wrong thing. If you focus on the budget, focus on what you really want your money to do, focus on where it's going and making sure that your budget's in line and actually lining up with your priorities. I mean, good grief, who cares about the credit score really? It'll fix itself over time naturally, fairly organically. So that's how you fix your credit score. You follow YNAB's 4 rules until you are victorious. I will see you all next week.